listeners, welcome back to another episode of Deeper into Different Brains. Thank you to everyone who joined us on our live on Tuesday. It was a huge success, and we're going to continue doing those on all of the different topics in the future. Please like, comment, subscribe, or even DM us if you want to be featured on any of the different interviews. In today's episode, we're going to be showcasing all of the different news articles that Different Brains has on the topic of ADHD. So let's get started. Our first article by Andrew Barry discusses recent studies that show individuals with ADHD having a higher likelihood of thinking much more creatively than those without. Our second article by Ruben Friedlander discusses a middle school in North Carolina in which a 7th grade language arts teacher is trying an unusual approach to get her students with ADHD to focus. Next, current studies are showing a link between ADHD and asthma. Resuming classes after summer vacation is always an exciting and often stressful event for any child. Here are 6 tips for making the transitions easier for any kind of different brain. In a recent study, those with ADHD showed a higher rate of continuous effects on the brain following a concussion, such as long-lasting anxiety and depression. Here are 5 easy tricks to help ADHD adults out there to avoid trouble in your daily activities. In this article, a Boston-based company plans to file for FDA approval next year for a video game that has proven effective for children with ADHD. Continuing with the topic of gaming, this article discusses NeuroPlus, which is a startup that has created a brain training device aiming to help those with ADHD to improve their concentration. Researchers may now be able to improve upon their understanding as well as the methods in which they assess attention deficit hyperactivity disorder by monitoring tiny movements within the eyes. 23-year-old Connor Jackson is using his experiences with schizophrenia, bipolar disorder, and ADHD to train officers from a handful of Kansas police departments. A study suggests that children who have been diagnosed with ADHD are eager to learn more about their condition as well as their medications, but often may not ask for the information. According to a study, depression, bipolar disorder, ADHD, schizophrenia, and autism all have one thing in common. They can each be traced back to the same inherited genetic variations. A 2012 study from the Federal University of Santa Catarina recommends that caffeine can be useful as an aid for symptoms of ADHD, normalizing levels of dopamine and improving the attentiveness of the patient, but with caution. A study conducted by Danish researchers has shown that mothers who take vitamin D during pregnancy may reduce the risk of ADHD in their children. And finally, people with Asperger's syndrome are often uncomfortable enough in day-to-day social situations, let alone the fast-paced action of an ice hockey rink. But this hockey player talks about living with Asperger's and ADHD. So that's all the information we have for you today. Stay tuned for our next episode where we showcase all the different video resources that Different Brains has on the topic of ADHD. I'm Emily Buckley, and we'll see you next time. For more information, visit us at differentbrains.org.